Hello, and let's try to have a good Tuesday from this Tuesday baby here at Radically Rational and radicallyrational.com. Of all the notable categories of idiots inhabiting the United States in the 21st century, the one that history will judge the hardest is climate change deniers. That is, if there's still anybody around to write that history. Okay, the moment has come. It should not surprise any rational person. For decades, I've been hearing climate change deniers say, well, these models are wrong, it's just politically driven. Why don't these predictions come true? Folks, they've come true. We've reached that line, and it should surprise nobody. If anything, we have reached this crisis earlier than the most advanced computer models had suggested. And the implications here are enormous. It changes everything. It changes quality of life. It threatens life. It has untold economic impact. And geopolitically, get ready for the earth to be hot in another way as well. And we should have seen this coming. But our pride, our denial, our hatred of science kept us from doing anything about this. And we may now actually be past the point of no return. Our species' narcissism knows no limits. How many times have you heard somebody say, it's arrogant to think that we could impact the climate. We couldn't do it if we wanted to. Quite the contrary. It's arrogant to think that we couldn't. And it's arrogant to think that we haven't. And the thing is, I know you don't believe in science. I know you don't believe in mathematics. But this is all chemistry. It's all physics. And it's all mathematics. And there's really no guesswork involved here. These are all basic equations. Some of them, the kind of things you used to do in a ninth grade lab. You add X amount of this, you subtract X amount of that, you project it over time, and these are the results that you get. It's the laws of science. Relatively speaking, our planet is a speck. That is another indicator of our narcissism. We think the universe revolves around this planet. And it's really pretty dinky as planets go. Not that it's not precious, but it is so delicate with respect to our atmosphere. Do this. Find a picture of the curvature of the Earth taken from the International Space Station and see that little tiny thin border? That's our atmosphere. That's our life. That's the only thing standing between us and incineration. And it is so thin. The working portion of the atmosphere that protects us, it's about 10 miles deep, and that's it. When you damage the atmosphere, you reduce the planet's habitability. I've been saying all along that this anti-science movement, this anti-science bent, was really going to bite us in the tuchus in the worst way possible. We saw some pretty bad stuff among COVID deniers and anti-vaxxers, but this is much more serious because it's permanent and it impacts everybody. Too late to do anything about it? I don't know. Some models suggest that it is, but I do know that it's never too late to try, and it's never too late to come out of denial. All right, so said the atmosphere is about 10 miles deep. How's this for me being obsessed with this issue? So Vlad Jr. last night hits 5.5 miles worth of home runs, which is about half the depth of the Earth's atmosphere. And yes, that is my takeaway from Home Run Derby. Pat Fitzgerald, what a sad story. This guy had a remarkable playing career at his alma mater, Northwestern, one of the most revered figures at that university. He coached there for 17 years. He largely did a remarkable job at a place where being successful in football is very, very difficult, and now it's all gone. I find it sad, but I'm also a little angry about it for this reason. Can anybody explain hazing to me? I've never gotten it. You know, from the time folks were trying to haze me when I was in Cub Scouts, I just never understand. And this notion that it brings people together, that it promotes unity, that's absolutely ridiculous. And when I think that Pat Fitzgerald threw it all away for that, it makes me very sad. A lot of arrogance going on, but you want the ultimate in arrogance in sports right now? Bob Huggins, the former West Virginia basketball coach who lost his job after a DUI arrest, and he lost his job because he tendered his resignation. He would have been fired anyway, but at the time it looked like he was doing the honorable thing. Now he says, no, I didn't send that letter, my wife did. Blaming his wife, and he says that he has never offered a valid resignation, and he wants and expects to get his job back. That's arrogance. Almost as arrogant as trashing our home planet. Have a good Tuesday. We're radically rational.